Shalom, Akim. I'm going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who teach and rule well. And salutations to all the Akim on four corners of earth who's pushing this truth and sincerity. Shalom, Akim. Yeah, I want to get into this, this fiasco that hit the news the other day. Where these two Edomites went at it. You have Ted Cruz, who I'm not too sure if he's in Northern Kingdom or not. And then you have this Tucker Carlson. He's ran into the New York camp and the elders. And, he had questions. He's had questions with him, and they've communicated back and forth with him. And the elders actually, they deal with him. They deal with him, not like that Velcat Malone guy. We don't deal with him. Call the police on him. But Tucker Carlson, he'll give ear and he'll have a question, and he ain't coming off on no pride stuff. Well, I want to say, once he ran into the elders in New York, I want to say that humbled him, because previous to that, he was on Fox News. I want to say he was on Fox News for years. He was on Fox News, and they fired him out of nowhere. And I want to say that firing is what really humbled him. And then he ran across the elder. It might have been around the time he was losing his job, or right after he seen the elders, he lost his job. One of the two happened. I can't remember exactly. But I want to say it humbled him, because when I used to see him on Fox, he was just fired up. The questions he'd come out with, it would just, the answer was right there, but he's not looking for the answer. He wants his own type of answer. That's the type of guy I get from, he'll make a situation much bigger than what it was. And that's how he used to come off as a news reporter, But I think he's humbled himself lately of last few years, especially when he lost that Fox job, and now he got a hustle. He's on doing internet news. I forget what type of news he does. He does like independent type internet news now, which is, you get paid from that too, but not like the big money coming in with Fox though. So he had to humble himself, But anywho, Tucker jumped into Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz is a senator, and Tucker just was lighting him up. And once again, we live in this Hollywood society where everything is scripted, So who's to say that this little tirade that they had on the news wasn't scripted and good for ratings, So I don't, it's tough to say, it's really tough to say. But at the end of the day, Tucker just laid it on him, and he showed how stupid this Cruz character is, and how, and once again, Cruz could have been playing a role, but at the end of the day, he kept fumbling his words and coming out with different scenarios that makes me think that Carlson actually tricked Cruz into saying things he wasn't supposed to say, or maybe once again he said it and it was all an act, because who knows, man? This day we're, But at the end of the day, we're not gonna be left in darkness. That's it. That's what it is. Psalm 64:8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. He was straight questioning Cruz about simple questions about Iran, like, hey, what's the religion over there, and who's this? Just simple, straight questions that a world leader or a senator should know, because you're pressing for war. You're pressing to bomb the place up, but you don't even know who you want to bomb over there. You don't even know the people you're dealing with over there. But yeah, these people they're getting caught up, man. They're getting caught up in these fake stories they're making up, and their old, their stories they're making up, and their homies and friends. They're starting to divide against each other, man. The house is very much divided now, because like I say, this Tucker Carlson used to be all for this political American system, this American corporation, man. He was all for it, Now he travels to Russia, he travels to all the countries. Most of the countries that are enemies with America, he'll travel to these countries and check them out and do touristy things with them and stuff, and how ironic, because previous to that, he was speaking down on these countries, man. Mark 3:25, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end, man. Once again, the reporter is squashing the senator, man. You know, he has no words for him, man. He stumbled the senator up on he tripped him up on everything he spoke about, everything he said, man. You know, once again, it damn near seemed too Hollywood, man. It seemed too Hollywood because this Cruz, maybe the Cruz guy thought that he was coming to talk about flowers and something different because he was not prepared for anything, you know. Just showing once again that these dudes are puppets, man. You know, they are puppets, and they have to play a role. You know, you have this guy who's Mitch McConnell, I want to say the Speaker of the House. You know, how many times has he reset? You know, he just sat up there in the middle of his speech and had to just stop in the middle of his speech because he forgot what he was saying and forgot where he was at. And it took some time for his handlers to get up there and to get him. You know, and they finally pull him off the stage, but he don't want to move, and they're pulling him. So you know, it's a conflict, and it's being played out right before our very eyes, and we're seeing this, man. You know, but yeah, their house is divided. You know, and they're against each other, man. You know, they are very much against each other. And once again, this Ted Cruz guy, he's gonna do something that all the politicians do. They rile up these dumb American people to and have them ready for war, man. You know, I've seen it happen numerous of times, from the Bushes, you know, to the Obamas, you know, and before then the Clintons, you know. They paint the picture of the boogeyman, you know. And that's what Cruz was doing, and Tucker Carlson was just schooling him and dropping gems on him, so to speak. And this Cruz guy was just in a puddle of poo. This is Jeremiah 7:8. Behold, ye trust in lying words that cannot profit. So once again, the American public trusting these lying words. This Ted Cruz his whole thing was to geek the people up, to get them ready. Oh, Iran's bad, you know, on some little kid stuff. So what does it do to the people? It riles them up. It gives them an enemy to look at, you know. We're going to probably be having more of those Iran people, Ishmael, you know, they're going to be getting prosecuted very soon, man. Esau don't play that. Well, pretty soon, I should say they have, but on a small level. Because I remember what happened not too long ago. What the hell happened? It was in one of these suburbs, you know, an Ishmaelite woman and her son, and the father would go to work, and so the son would just be playing in the yard, and the owner of the property they were on, you know, was an Edomite, and he lived on the property too, but he lived like in a house in the back. So the boy would be playing in the front yard, whatever. Man, the Edomite man killed the son, you know, killed the boy. And they asked him why he do it. He said because he felt that he was an extremist. He said he was a Muslim extremist. So, you know, they're gonna be getting hunted and chased down, man. So very soon, you know, Esau's gonna put the news and put the criminal light on Ishmael very hard very soon, man. You know, even though they're picking bones with Iran, you got Ishmaelites from different parts, from Jordan, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, different parts over there, man. But at the end of the day, you know, they're gonna just pick with Iran, because Iran has not been compromised too as well, man. Even though America throughout the years have went over there and started coups, killed the president here, president there, you know, set up their own Ayatollah, you know, by CIA backed and all that stuff, and it always falls, or somehow it just, you know, doesn't work out in America's plan or way that they want it. And right now we're at the end, and Esau is pressing hard to get into the Iran to fall into its tentacles of the reserve banks and the the Rothschild banks and all that stuff, man. You know, they all go hand in hand. This is how a lot of these countries have failed, because they've allowed, you know, the Rothschilds banks to come in there. I'm talking about the mega powers. You know, when Russia failed through the Balkovich wars, you know, to the bankers. You know, Germany failed during World War II, or previous to World War II, World War I want to say. You know, had to get money to build the country back up, and the bankers screwed them over. So basically, once again, we just got an ongoing conflict of how it's divided, man. You know, this is 1 Timothy 4:2. Speaking lies, hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. And that conscience is your mind, man. So once again, they're gonna go and mess with these people. I'm speaking about these dumb Americans, and they're gonna key them up, and get them, tell them who the enemy is, why they're your enemy, and just feed them all sorts of propaganda to get them ready for war, man. Key them up. We gotta paint the picture of the enemy, And America does that, man. And when you have guys like Ted Cruz and the cronies who back him, that's their whole main agenda, man. Get more bodies for sacrifice. That's the name of the game, But once again, this was a good interview. If you want to see Tucker Carlson at his best, because he straight crushed Ted Cruz. And once again, like I said at the beginning, this could have all been an act. Cruz could have been playing a hell of a role. Because it seemed like a damn movie how he was just spilling beans on information that, he wasn't supposed to be talking about. So you connect the dots to that, man. And once again, we're living in this big stage, and we're just actors in it. With that being said, it was edifying. Shalom, Hakim.